I'm here with Daniel Miranda, owner of Just Right Heating and Cooling. How are you? Daniel, tell me a little bit about your background. I know you have a really unique background and it sounds like an interesting story, so please share with us.
Well, I'm a third generation sheet metal worker. My grandfather worked probably for 5, 6 years on the trade, and just enough to get my father into it at a young age. And unfortunately, I started since 6 years old or something like that, just following my dad. And I guess just the family calling. And at 19, when my father said, like, okay, it's time for you to do your own thing, first thing I did is just get away from the house, and I ended up in Austin, Texas, actually.
Where were you before Austin, Texas?
Well, I was born close to Mexico City, but most of the sheet metal work that my family did in Mexico is on the Veracruz and Yucatan Peninsula, working for the oil industry over there, repairing sheet metal siding, architectural metal.
So you immigrated to the U.S.?
Oh, yes.
And how did you end up in the Northwest?
Well, first thing I did is I have an uncle here in Austin, Texas, and as soon as my dad said, like, okay, you can go, so I called my uncle and say, I'll see you on Monday. I came here, I learned a little bit of language, and about a year later, had some friends in Portland, Oregon, and I moved up there.
Great. Were they in the industry or?
No, I actually, when I got to Portland, I started working as a cook on a truck stop. And my brother came and visit one day and say, quit wasting your time. Here's a place that you need to go over there and talk to these people. And he actually gave me the business card of the training agency in Portland. And he just happened to go, when he came over to my job on the truck stop, when I was cooking, 2 doors down, there was a sheet metal shop, and my brother just walked over there and say, hey, are you guys hiring? And he said, we don't, but the union always taking applications. And yeah, about 3 weeks later, I was an apprentice for Local 16.
Wow, that's an excellent story. And so how did you, I guess at some point you decided that ownership was your path.
Well, that was set on stone probably since the day I was born. My father, every day we get up, like, okay, you got to do this, you got to do that. I wanted to go engineering. He said, you're going on accounting. And he said, like, one day this is going to be yours, your brother and sisters, and they're going to need somebody. You need to do the accounting, you need to do the books. Your brother's doing the shop, your sister's doing marketing. And we all had a place to on the company. But I guess I like a challenge, and I left Mexico and I come up here.
And so all those skills that he taught you became, something to lay the foundation for your own business.
Well, when I started at the apprenticeship in Portland, and I signed up and I say, oh yeah, I'm a third generation sheet metal worker, and I already know how to do sheet metal. And they say, yeah, well, that doesn't matter over here. You're going 50% apprentices, and then I find out how little did I know. Probably my third year as an apprentice, somebody says, like, hey, there's also service apprenticeship. And I say, sign me up. And somebody says, like, oh, we're teaching some AutoCAD classes. Okay, can I take them? And then somebody else say, Daniel, since you're already doing service, why don't you try balancing? So I took those classes too. I'm a long learner, a long time learner, and I like school. So I took all the classes, and right before I was thinking of going in engineering. You know, my father said, like, you'd go into accounting and say, I want engineering. So I say, hey, it's my chance. But before I go into engineering, somebody on Portland, the instructor, the business manager, he said, hey, Daniel, we need somebody to start teaching service classes. Are you interested? I say, sure. So I did that for a little while. And then it's like, okay, finally, I'm done with this. I'm going back to my engineering, what I want to do. The company I was working for, I was the sheet metal superintendent. they say, Daniel, we sold the company. Uh, by the end of the month, your guy's going to be working for a bigger company. And I say, hey, dude, it's like, I'm finally just getting, I like my work. I like where I'm going. I'm going back to school. And the guy says, like, what about this? It's like, we sold the company, but we didn't sell the equipment. And he says, like, anything right here will make you a deal. And I say, can I pay with a credit card? And the guy says, sure, just make a list. And I make a list, and I guess the only thing left was a couple desks and chairs. But that's how I got to.
That was the
where we
start,
are.
huh?
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's a great story. So where is it now? So where's your business now?
Well,
I mean, size-wise.
size-wise. Well, it basically is just, to me, it's a dream. To my wife, is what I do, who I am. To our family, it's kind of like what keeps us together. We're on our 6th year. Last summer, we had close to 50 employees. And I have never had a clear outlook of what's going to happen until this year. We actually have contracts that are going 2-3 years from now. That never happened. And now the pressure is on. Time to perform.
So Jerry had mentioned some growth plans or something. Is that part of that, or is it something beyond?
Well, we're probably the latest company to join in the union, but we didn't join as we started. We were part of something else, and then we became union. I'm part of the union. I went through my apprenticeships, all of them, and then the union kind of helped me and say, hey, Daniel, what do you want to do? And they say, we kind of help you do a plan or do this, and they kind of walked me through the whole system. And I already lost the question, but
No.
What was the question again?
Exciting plans or something about the future of the business, or?
Well, the growth. We were talking
Yeah.
about the growth, yes. So we're not the newest company, the biggest company, the newest company, but we're taking everything that we're getting on profits, putting it back on the company. We don't want to be a competitor to the bigger companies in town. We want to be a resource. We're trying to see if we can get into the production, fabrication, because that's what we're doing right now. We're helping 4 or 5 of the biggest contractors. They say, hey, my shop is in Seattle, my shop is in Spokane, and I just need these little ductworks made, but I need it right away. In order for us to be able to fulfill their needs, we have to do it fast, and we have to do it cheaper that they can get it from their own shops, or cheaper that the next company can do it. We can't do that unless we invest in the shop, heavily in the shop. For a company that's been in business for 6 years, we have more equipment than most of the companies that have been in business for 10. Right. By the end of the year, actually my birthday coming up soon, I'm getting a laser table, ovalizer, Cornermatic Versa, track, and turn vane machines, just to complement what we do.
Wow. So most people on their birthday ask for a car or a trip or something. You're asking for equipment for your shop.
And my wife is the one we've been asking to. She's the money person.
So it's truly a family-run business.
It is.
Have your family come up to visit, and do they see all the great things you're doing?
My family from Mexico?
Yeah.
Unfortunately, my mom is ill right now, and most of them are focusing on her, but they hear the good news, and they're pretty proud.
That's awesome. Very good. What is it that was going on with you and talking with Jerry about the other shops helping you?
Yeah.
You were saying? So what is that relationship?
So I was an apprentice, 5 years apprentice, just on the sheet metal side, 3 years doing service. So I basically worked for the bigger companies over there. My apprenticeship went around somewhere like 15 companies. I know somebody on that company. I went to school with somebody on that company. one example, and I don't want to say the name of the company, but it's one of the biggest companies over there. And one day they have a piece of equipment that broke. I just started my business, and that's one of the pieces of equipment. And I find somewhere, we refurbish it, we got it running, and it worked for us. And somebody from that company outreach us and say, "Hey, Daniel, we have this big job that needs to be done. We need to rent this machine." And I said, "Go ahead, take it." I wasn't asking for anything on return. It's like, hey, I'm pretty proud to be asked for this. The company owner actually wrote me a letter and said, like, hey, he knew my name.
That's great.
So he said, thank you very much for doing this. We're doing business with them right now.
That's great. So, yeah. You help them out, they help you out.
And every time we come to one of these conventions, Jerry's kind of right by my side and say, "Hey, Daniel, I want you to meet the owner of this company, or do you know that this guy has been buying this from us?" And I was like, "Oh, okay. I hear the name, but never met the person." And he introduced me to all the bigger players in Portland.
Right. So have you been to the convention before?
Last year we went to San Diego. Was super fun over there, and having my little ones over there with us. It was a pretty good experience.
Yeah. So are you now with your little ones? Are you teaching them the books, and are they coming into the shop and kind of learning?
Well, one of the things I learned from my family and from the convention is you have to have a succession plan. Second thing is your kids will never want to go into the company or to do what you do just because they have to have their own ideas and go out and try life on their own. But most of them say, like, if it wasn't for my dad, he brought me here, showed me these people, the camaraderie, the family feel, the environment, and I'm hoping that my kids get that. I feel like I belong here. I feel like this is what I was meant to be doing, and I'm hoping then my kids get that too, whatever they want to.
I'm sure they will. I'm sure they will. Thank you very much. I really appreciate it.